Good morning. Today we will learn about motion in one dimension. For that we require some definitions which you have learned in your high school some time back. Let's see. If a particle starts from this point A and travels to some point here B, and if you measure this length of this path, then it's called distance. Distance is equal to measure of the length of the path. So you measure it in meters because length is measured in meters. We have learned it in measurements. So measure of the length of the path in meters. So this is called distance and it's a scalar quantity. Scalar quantity. It is not a vector quantity because it doesn't have a direction. But if you join this point A with point B with an arrow mark like this, so this particular line with this arrow mark here is called displacement. Displacement. And you know that a line like this with the arrowhead is called a vector quantity. So this displacement is a vector quantity, and this vector quantity is also measured in meters, and it is a scalar, it's a vector quantity, it's not a scalar quantity. So it has a length from here to here which is called its magnitude, and it has a direction from A to B. This is called initial position and this is called final position. So the line joining the initial and final points is called as displacement and it's a vector quantity. Measured in meters, same thing as distance, but distance is scalar and displacement is vector. Now the question comes is, if a particle starts at point A, travels all this way to this point in a certain amount of time, then we can measure the amount of distance traveled every second. That's called as speed. Speed is called as speed is distance over time. Distance over time and measured in meters per second. Meters per second. That is the unit for speed. And is speed a scalar quantity or a vector quantity? We all know that distance is scalar, time is scalar. So scalar over scalar will be a scalar. So speed is a scalar quantity. Whereas if I measure this displacement, divide with the same time, I get velocity. So velocity is equal to displacement over time. This is velocity. Now, is it a scalar quantity or a vector quantity? It has to be a vector quantity because displacement is vector. Even though time is scalar, displacement is vector. Therefore, vector over scalar is vector. So velocity is also a vector like displacement. And its units are same thing as speed, meters per second. Because it's the length over time, So, we have learned today about distance, displacement, speed and velocity. We'll come back tomorrow with some more details about motion in one dimension.